Greetings, fellow citizens. This is Citizen Kong with a movie review. This movie was recommended by, I believe I am Sir John Thomas, formerly known as Space Monkey. Yeah, he recommended a movie called The Mist, and which is based on some writings by Stephen King. First of all, I want to say I am not a huge Stephen King fan. I do admire him. I do admire that he's so prolific, that he cranks out so many books, that his publisher asked him to publish other books under a nom de plume, under another name, because there's just too many Stephen King novels glutting the market. And usually, his movies, the movies that are made based on his writings, his novellas, his short stories, his books, most of them I don't particularly care for, to be honest. Probably the two classics for me is Carrie and Misery. And I also enjoyed the made-for-TV movie The Stand, but that's because I really, really enjoyed the novel. I would think I really enjoyed The Stand. Oh, man, I almost forgot. Oh, the other classic one, I believe that's Stephen King, isn't it? The Shining. Okay, there's three. There's three terrific films based on Stephen King's works, and one made-for-TV thing. So it would be Misery, Carrie, and The Shining. And then made-for-TV. I'm all confused now. So should I start over? No. Anyway, I think the reason probably why I enjoyed the made-for-TV movie The Stand, which was shown in several parts, was because I enjoyed the novel so much. Did I already say that? Okay. Misery, I thought, was one of his better ones because it leaves out anything that's supernatural. I mean, it's all like reality-based. You know, like this could actually happen. And that primarily is the reason for a lot of my disappointment in Stephen King films, is that I like the way everything leads up. I like the suspense. I like the mystery of what's going on. I like the psychological interplay between the main characters. And for some reason, whenever the supernatural phenomena or the supernatural event, I was looking at my note, or whatever phenomena is happening to cause these strange things to happen, for some reason, once that's revealed, it's a letdown for me. And then the rest of the movie just sort of plays itself out. Yeah. To be fair, I've only read two Stephen King books, The Stand and Cujo, which Cujo was the one about the vicious Saint Bernard or whatever, was very forgettable. I might have seen the film. And the only reason I remember reading Cujo is I remember there were some things in the book that weren't in the film that, usually, kind of strikes you. So, getting back to The Mist. Yes, in The Mist, I did enjoy the psychological interplay between people. I'm not going to give away anything that's not in the preview. I'm just going to say that there's this small, I believe maybe it's a New England town. Pretty much everything in Stephen King novels happens in New England somewhere. And you know why? It's those New Englanders. So, but luckily not everybody in there talked funny. Anyway, it's a little small town. I guess it's by a body of water or anything. That's not important. Yeah, there's water around there. Because over the lake, or whatever, the body of water, in comes rolling in the mist. And the mist brings in lots of bad things. Bad things happen when the mist comes. You don't want to walk into the mist because you're going to end up dead. So a bunch of people end up holding up in a grocery store. And so there's a lot of tension in there about who's going to lead, what are we going to do, what's really going on. And there is one character who is the neighbor of the main character who's in there with his son. His wife is outside there, back at the house somewhere, and they don't know what's happened to her. The neighbor, who he really doesn't get along with, they end up getting along for a little bit because they're kind of helping each other out, or he's helping him get into town. And then, basically, they once again turn against each other. And these characters, okay, I still don't think I'm giving too much away, but sometimes the characters in Stephen King books are a little over the top. And I know it needs to be to set up, story and the premise and these things that are going to happen. But this neighbor who's a lawyer or a judge, he becomes one of the guys that's sort of competing, who's going to be the alpha male here, who's going to lead. And so he gets one group under his... So there I go explaining the plot. What I want to say is he is so over the top, he's unreasonable. I would say that this guy, why? Why are you digging your heels like this? This is just, I don't know, but maybe there are people like that. The other thing that's a reoccurring theme that we saw in Carrie, and I think in some other Stephen King's book, a little bit in The Stand, is the religious zealot, the sort of like crazy Christian. But in The Stand, it was actually a good person that was the spiritual one, the one with faith. But of course, in The Mist, no, this is very bad. She's a lunatic. And the other thing is, I don't understand how she gets so many people to follow her. But now I'm talking about the stuff that I enjoyed about the movie, the psychological interplay, the tension, the characters, the way they interact, and conflict. And then more and more of the phenomena is revealed. And as it says in the trailer, there has been a portal, a window opened. And that's where the mist comes flooding in. And I'll say, when it becomes its sort of like creature feature part, some of it was enjoyable. But I think the whole like, whatever aspirations they had of this sort of, there's something about the movie that's deep. Once the supernatural element is introduced and you become more familiar with it, that's lost. I mean, it becomes a creature feature, which is still very entertaining, can be. And so I'd have to say overall I enjoyed it. I mean, it was, I enjoy some light viewing. Man, I've been watching these French vampire films that are just awful. And I'll sit through the whole thing because there's nude women in it. Yeah, vampire women. So, yeah, I liked it. The one thing though is the ending. I can sort of see it coming, and then I'm thinking, oh no, please, no, don't. And then it happens, and you're just like, ugh. And so it just still. It was a good ending. I know that I've tried writing stuff myself. The ending is the hardest part. So I wouldn't say it was an awful ending. I mean, it seemed appropriate. It worked. But I myself could see it coming. And I had to grimace when I said, oh yeah, okay. It did happen. One thing, a little aside, I thought was interesting is that two female characters, I don't know, is the modern thing, we used to say actress, but I think actresses just prefer to be referred to as actors. Anyway, these two women also appear in The Walking Dead, which I thought it was kind of interesting. And two women that I don't think I've ever seen before, except for The Walking Dead. The one that cuts her haircut really short. I mean, it's like she shaved her head and let it grow out like a quarter inch, half inch. I've definitely never seen her before, but the blonde I might have seen somewhere. Anyway, who cares? Anyway, this is Citizen Kong talking about The Mist. Right, cheers.